Hello and welcome to my video. This video is for those of you who may have never created a guitar note ever, or maybe you've been struggling and been having some trouble getting your notes to work, or maybe struggling to play chords. Generally it's because nobody showed you the trick to how to do it yet. And what I'm going to do now is show you my process that I figure is 100% success rate with this. So what we're going to do, we'll start by taking our right or left arm and just relaxing it. Just relax it. Here's step one. We're going to bring it up with our palm right about there on the guitar. Okay. Next, step two, we're going to take our first finger or any of our fingers. Let's just flex all of our fingers. What we're going to do is put the tips right on the fretboard like this. So notice already, just by doing this, you've got plenty of finger length to work with, right? You might have been struggling with things before this and trying to get your hands on the guitar and not have a lot of finger length to work with. A lot of that comes from self-taught thumb things and also some bad teachers out there. But anyway, there we go. So now next we're going to create a note. Here's step three. What we're going to do is take our first finger and we're going to point it right at the first fret of the second string. Best viewpoint of this is up in the upper right hand corner. Now notice where I'm putting it. I'm putting it right behind the fret. I'm not putting it in the middle of the fret. Anybody thinks that playing in the middle of the frets, somebody told you that, saw it on the internet, that that's efficient, it's a total lie. The reason you always want to play behind the frets, okay, is right near the frets, because this is where the contact point of the string that creates our note comes from. So if I don't want to press too hard, right, I want to be right where that contact point is. If I'm in the middle of the fret, okay, fine. I don't know if some of you have struggled and gotten these scruffy buzzy notes. They're caused by that extra bit of string right there, okay? So whenever you've got extra string between your finger and the fret, there's potential problems. Stay right up there and near the fret. And there's some other tricks I'll show you in future videos too. Today it's about just getting your hands positioned right. So here we are like this, and then the last thing you can do is to go ahead and try to add in other fingers. For example, I'm kind of creating a C chord. So I added in my second finger. You could even do it backwards. It's always easiest to stretch from your weakest fingers towards your more dominant ones. Another great trick when you're first learning, always harder to stretch like this, because a natural tendency for beginners is you're going to want to pull your elbow out, stretch like this, and it ain't going to work. So if you start with your weakest fingers first and get them in place, okay, then use them as leverage. If you look up here in the upper right hand corner, I'm just kind of using the same tactic we just used. Right up there on the fingertips, nice C chord. Now, the last tip I have for you has to do with the thumb. One of the most misunderstood concepts in guitar for me is the thumb, because everybody seems to say it absolutely has to be this way, or it absolutely has to be, you know, the thumb in the center of the neck in classical guitar style, or other people will say it absolutely has to be loose or this or that. Really, there are no rules. There's one absolute not that I would not do ever, is to play like this, trying to create notes, because once you do this and your thumb gets, you know, even like this, okay, anytime there's tension, we don't want it. So what I would say is if there's any contact that you always must, if you're one of those people that always must have some kind of leverage, I would use the bony part of your thumb like that, because it leaves you with a lot of options to move around. Let's say I need to do a lick where there's half of a bar chord, right? Or bend. You know, it leaves me options to move, but I'm not tight. Let's say I need to do a stretch lick. I just threw my guitar badly out of tune with that lick, but let's say I need to do a monster kind of George Lynch lick. Okay. Then I can adjust so that my hand position can stretch to whatever I need to do. So I would say my fourth and final kind of tip on how to do this is, for the thumb, stay loose and just use it as leverage to move where you need to move, not so much for stability. The ultimate stability should come from, your fingertips and your arm as a whole. And one last thing, keep your elbow rolled in. Okay, if you keep your elbow rolled in, like this close to your body, look what happens to my hand. If I roll it out, my hand goes like this. It's hard to reach notes like that, isn't it? So you want to keep your elbow rolled in. And so I guess I just came up with 5 points. So in summary, keep loose, arm up, tips of fingers, be able to use your thumb to roll where you need to roll, and also keep your elbow in. Okay. And you should have some really good success playing your notes like that. Thank you.